And it's another week, a very productive week, and I hope a safe week for all of us. Marty here again with Warehouse and Operations as a Career, and today I'd like to talk about a piece of equipment. Well, in my experience, us warehouse folks will either love or grow to despise it. Now, I may have been a little overly dramatic there, but I've known some people that what will we say, just couldn't or wouldn't make it work. My experience has been with what is called a mini load. I think the official name, or what it really is, would be a ASRS system, or Automated Storage and Retrieval System. Now these may include, and I imagine that they can be standalone components, anyway, things like pallet shuttles, even mobile racking systems, and they can be huge. And then you have the pallet conveyor systems, and of course box or tote conveyors. Like I mentioned, I've played with the mini load before. I was one that actually liked it. I won't say I loved it. However, I was willing to give it a try, and I learned to like it. No, seriously, it did the job, and it did it really well. I think I was more afraid of it breaking down. And it did, but not nearly as often as my nightmares of it stopping. I'll give you a little history and concerns I had with them, and then we'll speak to what they are, and maybe what they're going to be, or what we can expect in the near future. Today's topic actually was brought to us by a longtime listener, a supervisor from California. Dave and I tried getting our schedules in sync this week so he could bring some experience working with the larger ASRS systems to the show. But well, we're both in ops and time just wasn't on our side. Maybe we'll be able to bring him aboard in a few weeks and he can catch us up. So once upon a time, I was involved in the building of a couple of new facilities. It was pretty cool. We had a chance to build a building like we ops people would want it. The corporate engineers and planners really did a great job with them. I got lost again. So what is a mini load? Let's talk about that. Mini load is a designation given for the tote or small boxes ASRS systems. You'll have a stacker crane in between two aisles, and these aisles can be pretty narrow. A stacker crane is a traveling, lifting, and reaching mechanism that will run the whole length and height of our storage aisle and can place or retrieve our product for storage in totes or carriages. And they can do this with some speed, cruising the aisle at something like 600 feet per minute and a lifting speed of like 350 feet per minute, and they can do both at the same time. The theory behind one of them is really kind of simple. It'll be connected to our WMS, and we'll place the product on a carriage, probably scan it into the system. The barcode will have the quantity, product number, manufacture date, maybe an expiration date, country of origin, etc. Really anything our merchandising department would like to know about it is encoded there. Then we'll push a button, and off it goes, storing it in a slot, one of possibly thousands of bins within the system. Anyway, this particular facility was debating the merits of installing a mini-load ASRS or a configuration or mixture of pallet flow and carton flow racking. Flow racking is cool on its own. Typically, you're looking at a slanted roller racking system that will be fed or replenished from the back, either cartons or pallets, meaning you'll have a replenishment-only aisle feeding the product to the slots. From a selector's perspective, and when our WMS and replenishment person is working properly, we'll never arrive to an empty slot. You know, I think the thought process at the time was, and remember now, this was 15 years ago, when both systems were being developed into what we're seeing now, was how to develop the most efficient and ergonomic selection environment for the associate. It's important to remember travel time is a bad thing in our business, both for inbound and outbound shifts. Put away and replenishments require travel time. These systems can help both sides' concerns. So working the mini load was cool. One of the things I learned quickly was you have to stay organized. I mean, our work area has to be organized at all times. In my world at the time, product would come in, it'd be unloaded, broken down, and separated according to the purchase order. And now a mini load typically is going to be slotted with our slower, kind of smaller, items, at least it was back then. With our warehouse set up for freight movement, we were having one case or 2 or 3 cases of an item placed on a pallet, which was brought over to the mini load area, and we'd grab the case, scan the receiving tag, and either place the case in a tote or place it directly on the roller carriage, depending on the size, the shape, and the weight of the product. Then I'd push a button, and either it'd be whisked away by the stacker crane or it'd be placed in the queue to be grabbed on a subsequent trip. And this was neat. You could work way ahead of the machine. You wouldn't beat it, but you could keep it busy. The problem was all those pallets. You'd have 40 of them, not even a layer of freight on each, and then you'd have to stack them up and move them out of your way. If you weren't feeding the machine, you were getting behind. Well, it didn't take long until we painted off a little area and instructed the forklifts and pallet runners to place the boxes or cases in the staging area and taught them not to leave those pallets. Now I know everybody that's listening is freaking out that we were putting product on the floor. Yes, we did, but the floor was painted and it was designated as a staging area. Our plan described how no product would be left in the area more than 2 hours, and the entire area would be cleaned at the end of each shift. It worked, and we were able to keep up with the workload. Now that's just a mini load, for those smaller cases, I'm going to say manageable items. Picture a ASRS handling pallets or even parts, even large parts. Maybe you've seen those car vending machines or vending storage garages for our boats. The kind that you drive up onto a sled or a slip component and it raises it up and racks it or retrieves it with a ticket or a code that we enter through a keypad. Those are really just automated storage and retrieval systems. I really urge you to check out ASRS in your favorite browser. You'll find some interesting reading. And I think we're going to be amazed, over time at their growth, especially over the next couple of years. I made a couple of calls today to friends that are in the industry, one of them being a building maintenance manager. I asked him, hey, what is the first word that pops into your mind if I say ASRS? He said breakdown. He works at a facility that uses a large carousel system, another type of ASRS that uses miles of conveyor belts and roller junctions. He loves his job, but he'll admit his team gets stressed when something goes down. Everything stops, and they have to get it running again. He explained how there was redundant systems, all kinds of backups, and most of their parts are universal. All that helps, but the bottom line is it has to stay up and running. Now, luckily, he says at his facility they run at least a 99.1% uptime, and his selection side is rarely ever interrupted. Check them out. You'll enjoy learning about them. It's really an interesting topic. And I briefly mentioned carton flow and pallet flow a little earlier. A lot of places utilize this function. You may be familiar with what is called pushback. Our pushback carton flow is great for storing smaller, low-velocity items, but that's exactly what it is. It's just storage. We have to load it from the front, meaning during selection process, someone will need to get in our way to replenish the slot when we've picked through it. A true carton flow or pallet flow system will be fed through the other aisle. How can I describe this? We'd be picking on aisle A, then we'd have a replenishment-only aisle, and then we'd have B aisle to drive down. Only forklifts and stockers would be in our replenishment aisles, feeding the product and pallets to us order selectors. they would never run dry. Now, these type slots are usually high-volume movers, our most popular and most selected items. And there's really another perfect subject for you to look up. There are some great YouTube videos out there on carton and pallet flow systems. You'll be amazed where that's going to go. You know, the efficiencies such systems can bring to us in ops are really tremendous. I know. You'll hear how they're going to replace us, the workers. They're not. They're going to make our work easier. Yes, we may not need to grab the case from the slot, but we're going to have to move the freight. People will be inputting the data, making it move throughout the facility. Change, yes. A good thing, absolutely. Well, I hope you'll take a minute and check out these two topics online. If you'd like to share an experience or comment on either, shoot us an email to host@warehouseandoperationsasacareer.com, and maybe I can get with Dave. We'll have another episode on the topics. Until next week, wash our hands, maintain social distance, and please remember our first priority is safety. Our loved ones deserve it.